Hey everyone, Dan here. We are after the closing bell on Wednesday, March 10th, and it was an exciting day. The opposite of some of the days we've had recently where we had a big push upward early on and then some trailing off and struggling as the day continued. But I thought we would take a look at some of the plays that we've been watching for the last couple of weeks and see where they stand after today's price action. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a ton. And let's get right into it. So GameStop, as you can imagine, I get sent a lot of tweets, or I guess I should say a lot of the tweets that I get sent are questions about GameStop. And so, prior to today, GameStop had been holding this channel, that's this purple lines right here. It had been holding this channel for several days, which was actually like really incredible because it's such a volatile stock, but it had been staying in that channel. This morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, so a half hour before the market opened, I did a live stream on my YouTube where I did some live charting, and it was going through different stocks and showing what people might look for throughout the trading day. And at that time, I had said, I had drawn in this white box, and I had said, GameStop might be coming down to this level at some point today to fill a gap that it had left in the overnight price action, which is here. And, it quickly pushed off of that, though it had fallen into there in the very, very late pre-market, and pushed off and got back into the channel, which is what I said we wanted to do. It actually topped out over the channel, but then it fell back really quickly through the channel in no time. This is a 5-minute chart, so within about 10 minutes it had broken through that channel plus 3 or 4 support zones. And so it had that giant sell-off, but it got caught by that 224 zone, luckily, and pushed itself back up and sort of like retested that 220 support here and here, and now is holding this 250 as support, which is good, a good sign. So it's fine if it fell out of this channel. Like I had suspected this morning, it may come to be closing this gap, which usually when it closes the gap, it's going to fall down through it if it's already over that price, and then it's going to rise back and fill it in an upwards way too. So that's what happened here, and now it's basically struggling in that zone. But I still think that it's looking pretty good. I mean, going back to what I had been saying before, there's this enormous cushion of support underneath it. All of these purple lines, all these yellow lines, and below these yellow lines, they have a whole bunch of blue lines, and all of those indicate strong support levels. So I'm still of the mindset that if GameStop is going to really be falling or have some catastrophic drop, you should see it coming from a mile away. I still think that that's the case. So you can see it's still moving here in the after hours. So we'll see what happens. But we want to see it maintain this 250 support, or if not, come back down to this 224. I do think there's the potential that it's going to kind of coil within this price range and then sort of reload for its next push. And obviously if you're long, which I am, we're going to hope that that's a push up, but you never know. Above the level where it's at, we have this 322 that I had sent out this morning, I believe. And yeah, I think I think we're in good shape. It was a wild day, but that's sort of what I think at this point, anyone who's getting into GameStop and doesn't know that it's going to be a wild ride or expect that it's going to be a wild ride hasn't been paying attention. So there's where I stand with GameStop. I wanted to look at JMIA, which we had talked about several days or a week ago. At that point, I had said I was holding JMIA at the time, if I recall, and I had said, this is going to be my cut loss zone, which I did cut loss at that zone. And then I had said, as unlikely as it seems, if it gets into this green box, I think this is an excellent buy zone, which is why I wrote excellent buy zone here. And I had sent this out on my Twitter, and lo and behold, that came to pass, and that has proven itself to be an excellent buy zone. So I think JMIA is showing really strong support. If you're not familiar with JMIA, it's essentially working itself to be the African Amazon, and it's a really interesting company with really strong potential in a great market. And so yeah, if you caught this excellent buy zone, you've been very happy with it the last couple of days. And I think as long as we continue to hold this 40.79 level of support, we have a lot of run room basically back into the 50s. I mean, there's this friction point here at 45.93, but there's honestly not a ton of additional friction that has presented itself after it had this like big sell-off and now is retracing itself back up. As I like to look for gaps, a couple of things that we could watch out for is if it's coming up to fill a couple of gaps, which could be represented by this box here, would basically be to fill this gap. And I saw another one. This is a small one, but this one here to fill this gap. I guess we could extend it, though that one might be filled from this action here. So we'll ignore that for now. And then, maybe further down the line, it's coming up to fill this gap as well, represented over here. So I'd be looking for those potential future price targets that it's coming into, it's already dropped through those zones. So looking for it to refill by coming back up through them. So that would be a good sign. And yeah, other than that, I guess I'm wondering now, my hesitance there is I'm wondering if this gap is already filled from this price action. I'm going to say probably yes, actually. So let's take that one out. And that leaves us with this and with this. Yeah, so I'll stick to those for now. But that essentially does the thing that I was just mentioning, which gets us into that like 45 friction point, but then pretty quickly gets us up into the 50s. So that's what I'd be looking for. Yeah, so there's JMIA, Palantir. I've been calling it a snail, which I know some people take offense to because it is day to day, percentage wise, it is having good gains, but it's not really what I've been looking for. It's really spending way too much time, in my opinion, hanging around this yellow 24-28 mark. I think when we look back at the historical charts on this one, this entire area here will just look like a big consolidation zone. What I was really looking for was much more buying pressure in Palantir, and for it to push back up to this 30 level, which there's I think a consolidation zone here that's going to happen on its way to 30, but other than that, there's not a ton of friction points. Though now that this 24-28 level has proven itself to be such a consolidation zone, I'm wondering if that has sort of like taken care of the consolidation that would have to happen here, and it actually gives us really good run room without making a stop off in the like mid to high 20s. So, we'll see. But for me, Palantir needs to start making like more aggressive moves. And again, I know people are going to argue it's like a high percentage gain day to day from like this point to this point. And that's fine. But I still think compared to other growth stocks that have been sort of slaughtered since the recent market sell-off, a lot of those are coming back with more strength, in my opinion, whereas Palantir, it feels like, is coming back like a snail and may sort of indicate that the market kind of feels like this price is more approachable or more appropriate, which isn't a great sign until there's a future catalyst. So that's still my take on Palantir. Space, I took a look at this morning during that live stream that I had mentioned. So let's look at the 5-minute chart, because this would have been very short term. So I would have been drawing these targets like when basically this, let me see, right around like when this stuff was happening. And so, it hit a lot of the zones that we had identified. I had given it an upward target of this blue box that, like, in an ideal world for the bulls Space gets into this blue box and starts to kind of consolidate there, that would be a great sort of like target to have in mind if you were looking for, like, I don't know, to close your position and take your profit or something, or trim your position and take some profit at least. So that's what I had said there. It tried to reach up right at open and then fell back down, couldn't hold support, and then, waffled around this 30.75 zone several times, hit resistance, fell back through, and then found ultimate support on that 30.01 level. And now it's trying to reestablish support at the 30.75 level, which is fine. It still had a good day in my opinion. I think overall the chart for space is looking strong, and I'm not in it right now, but I'm definitely looking for days like today to take a new position in space. These are like good dip buying opportunities. It's like the dip within a strong uptrend. So it's like a weird mix of things that I look for. I look for price and buying strength in the stock, but simultaneous to that, I want it when it's dipping, not that I'm chasing it as it's running up. So that has never worked out well for me if I've started to chase. I've always done better being patient, feeling like the overall buying pressure is high, but for whatever reason or given other factors, there is a sell-off that's happening in an otherwise strong stock. So I think that that's the situation right now for space, and so I'll be looking at that closely tomorrow and Friday. All right, I hope everyone had a good hump day and that your trading week is going well. Follow me on Twitter if you want sort of more frequent updates, though I've been putting out, 3 or so videos a day, so maybe that's enough for everyone. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video.